Good morning. I am Lee Kinvey. I'm the intern minister of First Parish Church of Groton, Massachusetts. I use they, them pronouns. Reverend Aaliyah Kemmler and I are so glad that you're here. This is a community seeking to deepen spiritually, to take care of one another, and to be a blessing to this world. Unitarian Universalism is indeed a faith for all. So whoever you are, whatever country you come from, whoever you love, whatever you've done, whatever your beliefs, abilities, challenges, or gifts, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. Our spiritual community is vibrant and alive here in Groton, Massachusetts, and also with members and friends like you across the country. So if you'd like more information about First Parish programs, events, small groups, just email us at welcome@uugroton.org, and we will be thrilled to get you connected. We have learned through the pandemic that our sanctuary is not confined to a building. We co-create it in so many ways, including here online. These days, we're worshiping outside at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings in front of our meeting house. So some of the service you'll see today is filmed there. This week, we're honoring the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, and we've built a little sukkah, which the kids are decorating. So if you're local, you're more than welcome to come hang out there this week. We have a little picnic table. You can have lunch or a snack if you'd like. Whenever and wherever you're joining us from, we hope you will be able to come in, to rest for a while, and to receive hope and strength. You are so welcome here. Thanks for joining us.
It has become our tradition to begin our service by ringing a meditation bowl 3 times. I invite you to take some good, deep breaths, to take a moment to remember that you are whole, you belong wholly upon this earth, and you are held in the love which holds all of creation. So this first breath is for you, for whatever healing you might need today. The second breath is for all of your loved ones. May they be well. And the third breath is for our hurting, beautiful world.
Feel the deep power of being
Church to come up and light the chalice, the symbol of our strong and flexible and resilient faith.
Good morning. We're lighting the chalice this morning for all of us. Thank you, Lee. So this is the celebration of harvest. This is a celebration called Sukkot. I was brought up in Haverhill and we call it Sukkot. Yeah. So it's Sukkot. And some of us build a sukkah made out of just about anything, corn husks, cardboard. And it's an open air outside dwelling to remind us of the makeshift tents that the Jewish people lived in, survived in for their 40 years in their trek across the desert. So for the celebration of Sukkot, Rivka goes and knocks on the door of her son and says to him, time to get up and go and help build a sukkah. And he yells back, I'm not going. And I have two good reasons why I'm not going. I don't like them, and they don't like me. And Rivka says to him, I have three good reasons why you need to get up and help us go build a sukkah. One, you're 54 years old. Two, it's Sukkot, and it's celebration, it's festival of harvest. And three, you're the rabbi. So in honor of Sukkot and all of us here together, I'll read A Gardener's Gratitude. I wrote that. I'm grateful for feisty friends, tart as apples, for crotchety friends, sour as rhubarb and as indestructible. Our handsome family, gorgeous as eggplant, elegant as rows of corn, plain as potatoes. Grateful for funny people, silly as Brussels sprouts, amusing as Jerusalem artichokes, persistent as bamboo. Serious people, complex as cauliflower, available as summer squash, and intricate as onions. I'm even grateful for the slugs, squash borers, and the volunteer bunnies keeping me alert with outwitting them. I'm grateful for old friends who wind around me like clematis, holding me, all of us, in spite of blight, wilts, and withering. Grateful to those who are gone from my life, like gardens that have been harvested, and all those who in so many ways fed me in their time. So we celebrate Sukkot together for our abundance, in our gardens, in our hearts, with and for each other.
Soplo volar, super
I have a story for us today, and we'll start with our gathering words and hand gestures. You can follow me. We are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think, hearts that love, and hands ready to help. This story is by Becky Brooks. Once upon a time, there was a teeny tiny, itty bitty, teeny tiny, very small little god named Tiny. They lived their life hearing stories of all the big gods. And, Tiny was jealous. They wanted to come up with some kind of special spark of an idea that was all theirs. After watching the humans for a long time, they thought, I've got something that just might work. Are you ready? Here it is. You are not alone. Tiny took the form of a very light breeze, and in a voice so quiet, each person heard it only in their mind. They said, "You are not alone." People loved it. I mean, who doesn't want to hear that? Pretty soon, Tiny was comforting people all over with "You are not alone." Every evening, they took the form of the breeze and whispered it in people's minds. Then one day, they encountered someone who was not comforted by "You are not alone" at all. Her name was Miriam, and when Miriam heard Tiny's words in her mind, instead of feeling comforted, she felt agitated, upset. Something was just kind of off about it. Miriam said to herself all day, over and over, "You are not alone. You are not alone." At night, she tossed and turned and she couldn't sleep. And in the morning, she was reading the newspaper, and she found instead of just skimming over the stories, she was taking them all in. She was only halfway through the newspaper and she found herself crying. "I'm not alone," she said. "I'm not alone. I am connected with every one of these people in the paper and their stories. They live in my town and my country and my world. They love their family like I do. They're scared sometimes, and so am I. They hurt, just like I hurt. I'm not alone. I can help." Tiny was surprised. It hadn't really occurred to them that someone could think of it that way. Tiny kept watching Miriam because this was really interesting. Miriam and a friend talked about wanting to change a law, and Tiny noticed that Miriam wrote a letter to her senator about it right away and mailed it. Tiny noticed that when Miriam bought food at the grocery store, she bought extra food for her neighbors and brought it to them. Tiny saw that Miriam had tears in her eyes sometimes when she was at outside church and everybody sang together, and it felt good. Tiny watched Miriam draw pictures and send cards to friends and family and smile and wave more to people she may not even know. But most importantly for Tiny, they noticed that when Miriam got a phone call one evening from a friend she hadn't heard from or talked to in a long time, Miriam heard her friend's voice shaking. "I'm having a really hard time," he said. And he started to tell her about all his troubles. But then the tears came and he couldn't really talk. So Miriam got comfortable in her favorite chair and she said, Take your time, friend. I'll stay on the phone with you. You're not alone. I'm here. I am here. And Tiny heard those words like an echo in their mind. You are not alone. I am here. You are not alone. I am here. Can you say it with me? You are not alone. I am here. And in that moment, Tiny knew that what they needed was Miriam's hand and heart and spirit. Tiny knew that what the world needed more than anything was what Miriam had figured out. So Tiny went to work. Instead of just spending their evenings spreading the gospel of you are not alone, I am here, they spent their night times doing it too, and then their mornings and their afternoons, and pretty soon they were spending every moment doing it, until Tiny became the breeze itself. And that is why there are no paintings of Tiny. There are no sculptures or holy books, just a breeze, a quiet voice, a feeling, and many, many helping hands, loving hearts, and caring spirits. You can hear the echo, if you listen, of Tiny the God. You are not alone. I am here. You are not alone. I am here. When you're in bed and it starts to thunder and you start to shake and feel scared and a grown-up comes in and rubs your back, you are not alone. I am here. When your friend falls down and gets hurt and you go over and stay with them until they can get up, you are not alone. I am here. When you feel bad because someone hurt your feelings and then you tell somebody about it and they really listen to you, you are not alone. I am here. It's what we're here to say to each other. And it's how we can help Tiny the God.
I invite you to join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Settle in to wherever you are. Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt writes, "Let the walls of my heart be easily moved, as the walls of the Sukkot that sway in the wind. Let the roof of my heart be porous to tears as the roof of the Sukkah that lets in the rain. Let the space in my heart be open to guests. Let the beat of my heart be a reminder that life here is transient, a temporary dwelling. Let the walls left unsealed and the roof with its lattice frame the cracks that will let in the light." So let us rest here together in this sanctuary we create across time and space. We are without walls here, and so we rest in the shelter of one another. We rest in the shelter of one another. And let us hold in heart and mind all who are grieving or sick, and especially today at the end of Sukkot. We remember all who are homeless, all who are refugees anywhere in the world, and all who are in need of shelter and sanctuary. And let us hold the joys and sorrows of this community, spoken and unspoken. We share the joy that Irv's brother Tom is healed after a long struggle with illness, that Alan is doing well after unexpected surgery. We pray for May's daughter Jen and Ellen's nephew Davon, for Karen and Greg and Margot and Leo, for Bob's sister Anne, Jackie's mother Sandy, for Carol's sister Lois, for Christopher, for Doris, for Wendy, for Martha's nephew Jeremy, for Mary D. and Bob S. Love be our strength and our stay. Love be our guide and our compass. Love move through us and into the world. And I invite you into a time of quiet when you might pray the prayers of your own hearts or rest in the sounds of the day wherever you are, or hold in love and prayer those around you who are in need of your care.
Most of what I remember from childhood is playing in a little fort I made in a creek. It was right at the place where the road went over the creek, and so there was a little tunnel under there, and my fort was just on the edge, sort of half in the tunnel and half out. I had many, many playmates down in there that no one else could see or hear. And I'm pretty sure Tiny the God played with me there basically every day. I was never, ever lonely. I grew up in Tiny the Town, Nebraska, attending the Lutheran church there. I loved the way my father became both more alive and more peaceful when we sang in church. And it's also true that with those Lutherans, I learned some things that I decided later to unlearn, and that took some work. But my favorite part of elementary school summers was the week away at Camp Luther in Schuyler, Nebraska. And my very favorite part of Camp Luther was singing around the campfire. And it was there that I got this big theological message that I decided to keep. You ready? God is love. It made sense to me as a kid. Love there in the campfire flames and the stars and the music. Love in the feeling that we all knew that we all belonged. If that was God, then I knew that God was also in my little fort in the creek, half under the bridge. And if that was God, sign me up for God. This week, we're honoring Sukkot, which is a 7-day Jewish holiday that follows 5 days after Yom Kippur. This past Wednesday was also Mabon, the Autumnal Equinox, the moment in the wheel of the year midway between the summer and winter solstices. This is the time of the harvest. It's the time when we are most flush, when food is most abundant. I find it really fascinating that at this time of so very much abundance, the Torah says, go live for a week in a place that's frail and fragile. There are so many messages and instructions that the Torah gives to the Jewish people that are also true for all humans. So the Torah says, go live in your sukkahs. Like we have one here at the Parish house. They're like forts with 3 walls. They're very temporary. They've got no foundation, just dirt floor, and they're open. The roofs have to be open to the stars and the weather. So this time of plenty is the most important time to remember our temporariness, our refugee status. The instruction isn't to go to a grand and beautiful temple on a solid foundation and have a big feast inside the walls. Rather, it's to go to a humble and unstable three-sided hut that's open to the elements. I love that the central text in Jewish mysticism, the Zohar, teaches that it's the Sukkah that invites God to appear. This temporary, fragile, shaky mess is God's invitation. As a Unitarian Universalist, I believe that what each of us experiences as God is valid and unique to us. For me, I'll pretty much sign on for Tiny the God and for God is love. Always available, always there, but I have to do my part, which is breaking and opening and receiving. What Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt calls letting the walls of my heart be as easily moved as the walls of the sukkah sway in the wind. For some people, the word God feels right, but if it doesn't sit quite right for you, whenever you hear me say God, you do your work to substitute your word, love or spirit, goddess or divine or Mary, Buddha, Vishnu, Gaia, Yahweh, Allah, whatever is most holy and sacred to you. So the times I feel closest to God are when I feel the smallest and most vulnerable. It's the equivalent of being outside in the sukkah when the rainy season starts. We're asked to open our hearts and lives and engage in direct experience with the elements, with life. When I consider the deepest and most kind of holy moments that I've had, what comes to mind are childbirth and death, illness, both mine and that of people I love, emotional pain, grief, physical pain. And I'm careful here to say that I'm not talking about major trauma. With significant trauma, our systems become overwhelmed, and that requires a different level of support. But I'm talking about the times when all the armor that we put on to kind of guard ourselves from feeling bad doesn't work anymore. There comes a time when that armor just doesn't serve us, is not protecting us. In fact, it's keeping us apart from love, apart from each other, apart from God. There was a time when my son Lars was maybe 11 years old, and he got a really bad pneumonia. And he'd been intubated in the intensive care unit at Boston Children's Hospital for maybe a week. And I was permanently installed at his side, tracking all the things, talking with all the doctors, getting people to bring me coffee, and doing a ton of Tonglen meditation, which involves taking in pain and grief, transforming it, and sending out whatever's needed. And I was watching as he was slowly getting worse, and the palliative care team was coming around more often. And then there came a time when the doctors said, "We're not sure he's going to make it through the night tonight." So I sat vigil all night, as cracked, open, and raw as I could possibly be. And my experience through that broken, open night is that I was accompanied. That love or grace or God, something powerful and comforting, was right there beside us, not controlling or changing anything, not making any promises, just being with us. You are not alone. I am here. I started sending light and love to all the other loved ones who sat at bedsides around the world that night. You are not alone. I am here. Lars turned a corner and started wiggling in the morning. Then he started dancing to Michael Jackson music. And we were able to extubate him and bring him home a couple days later. In fact, Lars and I sat under the Sukkot in front of the meeting house just last Friday night and ate Ritz crackers. Everybody's experience is different in realms like this, but maybe some of you can think of a time like that when you were at your most vulnerable and you felt somehow like God showed up, like love or grace or connection or I am not aloneness showed up. Comfort, maybe through a friend, maybe directly, maybe just for a moment. I'm going to give us a short break from talking with a song called Close to Me Now by my dear friend Harmony Grisman. Close to me now, oh my heart, stay close. Don't wander off in searching. Close to me now, oh my heart, stay close. I need your love, I need your love, oh I need your love. Close to me now, oh my God, stay close. Don't wander off in searching. Close to me now, oh my God, stay close. I need your love, I need your love, oh I need your love. So here we are, exposed to the world. If we're in a sukkah, we're away from structure and safety, away from the boundaries and reassurance of walls and roof. Out in this world, we're not really protected from the elements or the noise, not able to stay just with our own kind, but open to all, seen by all. Sukkot instructs us to welcome guests and strangers, helps us to get humble and small, helps us remember we're just here for a while. This is all temporary, and we are all more interconnected than we could imagine. Air purifiers notwithstanding, what we have to do to stay alive is keep breathing this air that we really do share. It's breathtaking how breathing and our interconnectedness and our vulnerability have all come together at this time. While I believe that opening to love means that love will show up, always, it doesn't mean that we know how it will show up. From the words of our colleague Sean Parker Dennison, to invoke love is never to know if it will come softly with the nuzzle of a beloved dog, or pound right on your chest with the strength of a lioness. To invoke love is to allow for the possibility that your words and actions might become so empowered that you can no longer believe in apathy or in the self-righteous idea that nothing can change. to invoke love is to consider yourself worthy to be made whole, willing to encounter love that will never let us let each other go. Are you ready? First Parish Church of Groton is a faith community, a sanctuary, in person and online, in which we can practice opening to love. Practice being madly, sweetly, earnestly in love with life. Life that is just as wonderful and hard, as joyful and painful and complicated and messy as it is. Practice being the voice and hands and ears of Tiny the God, telling each other, say it with me, you are not alone. I am here. Here, even as we witness injustice and suffering. Suffering that's never distributed equally, evenly, or justly. Sometimes just because of bad luck, but much of the time because of unjust power structures. We return again and again, open to the elements, gathered in our humble, ramshackle, unstable, temporary forts, because it's here, when we're at our most fragile, shaky, messy selves, that we can make ourselves small enough to encounter a love that will never let us let each other go. Amen.
Where you lie, I will lie, and your people are Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, ancestors. Where you go, I will go. Where you lie, I will lie, ancestors. Where you lie, I will lie. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine.
So please stay standing as you are able. Just a reminder to stay for the postlude music. You're welcome to come up and do a silent stone, and grown-ups of the littles, come first for your stones and be connected with your children. So will you put a hand over your heart, and with the other let us reach out to one another and look around. These are your people. Know that we are connected. We are tied together with strong and sturdy threads of love.
Go in peace, beloveds. You be a blessing to this world.